Hi everyone, I hope everything's going well on your side of the screen. So we are starting a new project that I'm going to try to be putting out YouTube videos for, and it's going to be working on this medieval world, or at least medieval-esque, within the constraints of what we have in The Sims 4. I downloaded some CC, which I kind of showed there, but we'll see how much we actually use and how much more we can find. I think this project kind of started. I love The Sims Medieval. I love that entire vibe. And then I just recently played the game Foundation, and it's like a city building game, but make it medieval. And I got through the entirety of creative mode in about 22 hours and realized I want to bring this to The Sims. So that's what I'm going to try to do with this. If you see, I started making on a 64 by 64 lot a medieval village, and quickly realized that I just did not have enough space, not for everything I wanted to do. So I decided to break it down into individual pieces like this, like the barracks, and just really commit to each build. And I thought, what better way to share it than to put it on YouTube? So that's what we're doing here. I just attached it from the main one. I really like what I did with these arches here. I kind of made them into custom windows by using the Castle Estate arch and the life and death fence, it's a debug fence. If you have better build by you, it's easy to kind of find that kind of stuff. You can just eyedrop it, and so I do that a lot. I do use tool mod quite a bit too, but I don't think that I end up actually using any CC in this build. We'll have to double check that. I also see a random window floating in an archway at one of the top, like right building. Yeah, right there in the front. I wonder if I fixed that. I guess we'll find out together. But I had a lot of fun doing this build. I have experience. I just built stuff like this in Foundation. It has some really good customization options for when it comes to like manor buildings and the castle and the monastery. So I had a decent idea of what I wanted the outside to look like. I know putting the observatory is a little bit strange, but it makes sense for the Sims. Like, they're gonna need to see stuff. It's a giant telescope, why not? I also end up putting little telescopes in all the windows, and I think that's pretty nice too. It looks like I did fix that window in the arch, so that's good. I'm glad we fixed that. That might have been a little bit rough if it stayed the entire time. So this is one of my favorite parts. I love adding ivy to old buildings. I don't know why, it just looks good. And that big one at the very top, that's island living ivy. This one on the right hand side, and then this was a base game, and it's like one that sits on the ground, but when you raise it up with the 9 key, it just keeps going. So that's a fun little glitch. I decided not to put it in this build because this is a save file that's not my own, and I really don't want to mess it up, or it may already be on the verge of corruption. So just to keep it safe, I didn't use it, and I have been saving a bunch throughout this. So instead, I think I used Discover University ivy, and oh, I want to say Horse Ranch at the top. I tried to make all the greens match, but that's not really realistic in real life, so it didn't quite happen in The Sims either. I could probably spend an entire stream doing ivy. Actually, I think I have done hanging ivy before on my very veggie broccoli gen house. It ended up looking like a swamp. There was so much ivy. It was beautiful though, stunning. It was a treehouse build. So like I said, we put the observatory up at the very top, and because it's a training grounds, barracks, we need a place for them to practice. So I put 3 of these little archery things, and then I used the debug fence, or like a debug wall, to kind of close it in. I did have to use tool to scoot it off the lot a little bit. And then let me tell you about the stair struggle. Can anyone tell me why it did this? I left this in here because it's a part of the process, but I really wanted like a U-shaped stair in one of these towers. Isn't that cool, by the way? The Tombs Tower? The Tombed Tower? Spiral stair tower? Anyways, I tried everything. I tried multiple different methods. We used platforms. We tried to get one off the gallery. Nothing. So we end up using lattice ladders instead, and they have like the ivy on them, so I feel like that works really well. You will also see there was a little pop-up there from me getting rated. The beginning of this video is part of what I did on stream, and then I finished it later on. So we will have a couple little notifications that pop up throughout. because I got rated, and then I think I got a couple follows. So I do tend to work on a lot of my builds live. So if that's something you're into, I am on Twitch a couple nights a week. I don't really have a set schedule. Having a full-time job, a husband, and a baby, we just kind of go where the wind takes us. Oh, and now this is a trim, I guess a glitch that's been happening. I tried to put it on this lower level when I had like a patio area in the front, and it would not go on the wall behind. So I had to delete the patio to get it back, and then it removed it from the spots where it is in front of these main arches and stairs, but that's fine. I don't think it's really a big deal that it's missing right there. I would rather have it above the windows. And then I really like these flags. I think they're from Discover University. And I was gonna put some fountains in between, and I didn't really like the ones I was seeing, so I used Spa Day. They're like little stepping stones, but they're not actual fountains, but they look cool, so that's okay. And I added these, I believe, Royalty and Legacy ones in the back. And I twiddled with the stairs again to make them flare out, because we got that, so why not use it? See, this is some of the CC I got. There's like a cathedral one and then a cooking set. So we might invest in that somewhere. I brought a sim here to test to see if those little steps are in fact fountains, and they're not. They're literally just steps. So, and then this little goat statue is so fun. I had such a fun time doing this. I knew I wanted to use like this little round planter, and I wanted to make it look overgrown. So that's what I did. I added a whole bunch of little grass surrounding it. And then I end up later on finding a different kind of shaped one, and so I add that in to add a little bit more dimension, and it just looks really cool. It just looks like a fun little memorial. Now, what does this goat have to do with our medieval barracks? Not a clue. Not a clue. You're gonna have to tell me. What do you think he did? Did he save the whole village? Was he the king's pet? Who is he? Why is he relevant? Why does he get a statue? We don't know. That's kind of the fun thing about playing Sims and doing builds like this. I don't always have a backstory in mind, but as I'm creating the build, stuff will just kind of come to me and make sense, and then I'll base it off of that. Try to create a little storyline within it. So I'm just adding in some landscape here, putting in terrain paint and putting in some plants, kind of simple ones. I did want to do a fountain, and I decided on this one. I believe that's, oh man, romantic garden, I think. Great question. And just doing the same kind of landscape I always do. I looked at some of these shrubberies that have like a knight or different chess pieces, and it just didn't quite seem fitting, so we went really simple, basic bushes, base game flowers, some grass, and then more just little shrubs. And you always gotta add a couple rocks. Somehow it just makes it look more natural. And then we started to move into the inside, and I knew I wanted to use the clock from Royalty and Legacy. That's a secret passage, and I want to put them all throughout the world so that hopefully you can connect all the buildings, like you'll be able to go from one to the other. And the inside kind of stumped me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really sure what to put. I'm doing a bathroom right here, which is rather unfortunate that it's on the 4th story and you have to take ladders all the way up. So definitely don't wait until you have to go. Try to go sooner rather than later. Your son might pee on themselves. And then I debated putting a door on this one and decided to just do curtains instead. And I do later change them to be like a dark chocolate brown to kind of fit the vibe of everything else. The bathroom is probably the most different from everything else going on. It's a little bit more modern. I tried to do like beiges and rustic looking things. I used these sinks and this table from Garden to Table just to kind of fit the vibe, but you got to work with what you have in The Sims, you know? And so now we're going through and adding lighting everywhere, because I feel like that's just a really fun part of being able to see the daytime and nighttime version, to see how it would be lit up. And it is kind of glitching the arches because I guess it thinks it's outside and it's not, but it still looks nice, so it was worth the hassle of doing it. And the inside really just becomes a lot of sitting areas. I found these cool little stone pieces to go on the wall outside. Those are from Castle Estate. And I really wanted to find something like flags to hang or little old signs that made sense, and I was just not seeing what I wanted. So I eventually gave up on that endeavor. And I've since realized I maybe could have gone to the outdoor section and of debug and looked there. And that's that little piece I just put in with the goat that like raised it up a little bit. It's just nice. I just like the way it looks. And I added these tents on the outside because you'll see later, I tried to put single beds, bunk beds, any kind of bed up there. It would not work. So we are going to pretend that these tents from Get Famous are functional, and that is where our soldiers, our militia will stay. And I've got them a fun little fire. I thought it was going to be the one that has like the little fire spit on it where you can cook food. I don't think it is. I could not find it. So just a nice little campfire. I do put some terrain paint to make a nice little path going out to it. They've got a spot to wash their laundry. They can enjoy the fountains. And I do later put back there a grill and some picnic tables, which I don't know if they had picnic tables in medieval times, but we're gonna play pretend. And so we are coming to the end of what I streamed, and now we've come back in. This is what I recorded off of stream. So just kind of finishing up the build at this point and making a lot of progress. Actually, I put a little kitchen in, tried to make it as rustic as possible. And with the window placement, it was hard to figure out what to do. Upper cabinets didn't really work. I could do open shelving, but what would I put on it that's period accurate? I did find this little shelf from Adventure Awaits and I used it in a different section. And I think I ended up putting just some knives. I did find like a rustic-ish looking shelf. I tried these, they did not work either. I think I do end up keeping this one from Jungle Adventure. And then I put these little curtains from Adventure Awaits up everywhere. They're like little camping tent curtains, and I felt like that kind of fit the vibe for what we were going for. And because they were this deep brown, that's why I changed the bathroom curtains to be brown as well, just to kind of be cohesive. And I switched out that pot and pan thing to be the Adventure Awaits one. I just liked it a little bit better. I found some more kind of concrete or marble art for the walls. It matched the best we could find. There's just not a lot of stuff for the time period I'm going for. That's why I've been looking into CC. I did find those swords and that little what's it called, like bear of arms, the shield and swords. I think that's the name of the item. But you'll see here I tried with the beds. You can't do a bunk bed. It looked weird, so we're just going with the tents outside. Maybe there's gonna be an inn or a tavern, something like that in the city where they can stay, like in the main part where the town is and the little market and everything like that. So to kind of wrap up with decorations here, we did these knight statues, and I played around with a couple different marble statues and ended up settling on these gargoyle ones. I just kind of like the way it looks from the outside. It kind of gives it a little bit of a scary vibe. And sized up these armor shield ones. They ended up raising, but we fixed it. Tool mod, blessed tool mod. And you'll see the kind of the theme inside everywhere is just a lot of sitting area, because I mean they're watching constantly. That is the entirety of their job. So I tried to make a lot of places to sit. Those are little traps I stacked on top of each other. I have a little bucket, and here I do the listening station up on like the top floor. That's definitely not time period accurate, but it makes sense for spying. So sometimes we did have to sacrifice time period for functionality, but I still think it ended up pretty good. I did look to see if I could find any medieval artwork, and I will tag the creator name underneath in the description to give them credit, because they took all of these and they ended up being perfect. There's some knights, like a king and queen, some fancy looking ladies. They were really, really nice, and I just added a dark wood frame to all of them and placed them throughout. And that is pretty much the end of the build. So we go into the tour now. So now that we have finished the speed build, this is just a little finishing tour to see how everything turned out. We have the observatory on the top, the picnic tables, the flags. This is how that goat statue turned out. with that second little piece I was talking about. And we'll just kind of start from the bottom. I do believe the camera is going to be jumping because of the way it's built, so I do apologize for that in advance. But like I said before, there's a lot of sitting area. I put lanterns everywhere. There's a little rustic kitchen. I think if you counted how many times I said rustic in this video, it would be quite a lot. Like I said, I'm hoping these connect tunnels throughout the world, but we'll have to play test it. And then you come up, and there are telescopes in every window to see everything. We have a little command center where maybe they plan out their next move. And like I said, those little medieval pictures are pretty much everywhere. That was the main source of wall decor that I used. And continuing to go up, we have the traps from cats and dogs, a little bucket in the corner they can pee in if they can't make it to the bathroom on time. If they're gonna pee their pants, rather just go in a bucket. More sitting areas, more lanterns, and then we have the listening device up here. We're jumping around. We've got our bathroom. And then one final sitting area and maybe some storage. Maybe these are little food boxers or something. And that is the finished build. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. If you're looking forward to seeing more parts of this series, I'm definitely excited to keep working on this. I'm not sure what the next part is that we will work on, so leave any suggestions in the comment. Like I said, we have an empty save file and we are doing every single lot in Henford-on-Bagley. So I look forward to working on those. Bye everybody.